So it's no secret that G2 has been pretty much dominating North America recently. Obviously, this always hasn't been the case. In fact, even back in Season 9 League play, they had some really shaky looking matches. And then if we look even further back to their Season 8 performance, they really struggled to find any footing in the RLCS, but now they've had a complete turnaround, and after fixing everything that made that team weak, they've now used that to their strengths, and they are just an insanely dominant team. But one question I've been getting is, what is the main thing that G2 has fixed? What is that key thing that G2 needed to have going for them that they now do that relates to all their success? And I thought that was a really good video idea. So in this video, we're going to be going over just that key thing, what I think is the most important thing that G2 have fixed, which honestly, in my eyes, it really is only one or maybe two things that they needed to fix and that they did fix that relates to all their success. So this is going to be kind of like what I did with my Sandrock gaming video. It's going to be kind of like our replay analysis, and a lot of people did like that style. So if you guys enjoy the replay analysis style videos, hit subscribe, I guess. And well, I guess if you like it, hit the like button. I mean, I've never really asked people to hit the like button, but I guess it is a good way to show if this is something that you guys are into or not. And like, if you guys do obviously like it, I'll do more of it. So we're going to go over some replays. We're going to go over a couple games from the NRG G2 game back in Season 9 League play. And then we're going to go over another NRG G2 game, the one from the Spring Series Grand Finals. And I'm going to show you some key moments throughout those games where G2 made different decisions and did different things that really, really turned the tide into their favor. So what is it? What is that key thing that I believe G2 were lacking that they have now? And it comes down to decision making. Now, decision making is the thing that not only separates the pros from the grand champs, but it separates the pros from the pros. I mean, decision making is probably the biggest asset to have in Rocket League, honestly, in any game. As a professional player, the decisions that they make, I mean, you can have absolutely zero mechanics, but if you make the right decisions, you can be a dominant player and a dominant team. And G2 were lacking in their decision making. So before we start, I want to play this clip from Rizzo to help give you some context of what I'm talking about.
How do you maintain that? It's got to be exhausting being on offense all the time. Is there ever a moment where you're just like, I just want to go back to defense for a second?
No, I think we're definitely a team that likes to play on offense. So I definitely would prefer it over playing on defense.
Obviously, we've been seeing you guys win some big tournaments, but the season before this North American Championship title that you were able to take down, you guys were dead last in league play. I want to know from in your own words, what was broken and how did you guys fix it to the point where you're this dominant?
I think you might even have to go a little bit further back than that. Going to Season 7, we played a certain playstyle that worked for Worlds, and not many people expected it. But going into Season 8, it seemed to not work as much, and we trusted each other a lot in Season 8. But I think that was part of the issue, where we trusted each other way too much, and it just ended up crumbling. But we took a moment to kind of realize that we were actually wrong in our playstyle and to adjust it and change from there.
So as you could see in Rizzo's interview, Rizzo talked about how they like to trust each other a little bit too much, which, you know what, having trust in your teammates is not bad at all. And I can easily see why, when you see someone like JNaps with the ball, why you would put every bit of trust into him that you possibly can, because it's JNaps or it's Chicago. But at the same time, everyone's only human. Everyone can get dunked just like everyone else. It's possible. And I'm going to show you some key moments right now from NRG versus G2. This is going to be their Season 9 League play match where their trust in each other and their decision making really was the downfall for the team. So I'm going to go ahead and play the first clip right now. So this is a clip. Rizzo clears the ball to Turbo Pulse. So, you know, it shouldn't be anything, but all of a sudden JNaps extends his third man, and it's just a free goal, a goal that you should never see going in. Right here, you can see Chicago's going up for this ball, Rizzo's backing off, but there's always a chance they get beat. JNaps definitely should be at least waiting to see what develops from this play, and Turbopulsa just slots it in the net. Now, a lot of people are going to remember this next goal. It's kind of unfortunate, and it's maybe you might make a case that it's unfair for me to put into this in here, but it really does sum up. I think that when everyone saw this goal, it just summed up G2's play style perfectly, and I think that that's why I need to put this in here. So, as you can see, Rizzo gets the demo on Justin. JNaps barely misses a shot, but Justin spawns in the perfect spot to get yet another long goal on to G2. And this really was the story of their gameplay. It was long goal after long goal after long goal. And to be fair, G2 didn't realize Justin was going to be there. So it is hard to position yourself for someone who's about to spawn. And then we get into game 5. And this, again, another goal that sums up their game. Right here, you see Chicago and JNaps. See my mouse? They're on the back wall, basically, right? So you're thinking, okay, Rizzo's going to be the third man now, seeing where the play develops. And no, Rizzo just flies right by the ball right here. And now their third man is inside their opponent's net, which is not really where you want your third man to be. And what happens when there's no goalie? It's just another long goal. So, as we can see right here, some big problems coming out from G2 in league play were pretty much decision-making as third man. Just when do you want that third man to move up to challenge the ball? And having a lot of trust in each other, like I said, is good, but too much trust could be a downside or a weakness to the team. You got to remember, everyone's just human. They make mistakes. And now this next clip I want to show, it does have to do with decision making, but it's a kickoff goal actually, and this is just where G2 showcased just not the best kickoff. You had one man cheat up for the ball while you had your last man go for boost, which is not what you want to do if you need someone defending that net at all times, because let's say NRG win the kickoff and then you got past two of the G2 defenders, and then that third man's at the corner boost. Well, it's an open net, and that's exactly what happened right here. It was just a wide open net. Well, it wasn't wide open. He still had to place it, but at this level, a player like Turbo Pulsa places that all day. And one thing that I do want to point out, how could they fix a kickoff like this? It's very simple. You see Chicago in the back corner. Notice how he's turning towards the midfield for this ball. If he turns back towards net, if he just turns the opposite direction, there's a good chance he gets back to this ball actually, and yes, barely makes a save, but makes the save regardless. And I think that it really comes down to, if you're going to do a kickoff like this, that man in the back corner needs to turn towards net just in case something like this happens. Just where Chicago can't get it. And that kickoff is something, again, that you really want to work on. A lot of people overlook what pro players do on kickoff to prevent things like this from happening, and they do it a lot, but every now and then something will go wrong, and there are ways that you can make sure that the kickoff does go in your favor. So now I take this clip from the Rocket League Spring Series. This is the grand finals, and I've got a couple clips from this I want to show for the G2 NRG game, which really showcases the turnaround for G2 and just what they have done to completely fix some of those issues that they've had, biggest being decision making. So as you see right here, JNaps and Rizzo are both on offense. JNaps goes for the pass and it doesn't work out. Chicago's back. They're trying to get something going. A follow-up coming in from JNaps, and right here, JNaps is on the back wall. Rizzo is literally inside the net. And where's Chicago? At this moment, I remember watching this and I was like, oh no, this is going to be an open net, isn't it? And Chicago, right here, perfect decision making. Instead of jumping for that ball like we've seen G2 do in the past, he turns around and goes right back to net to give G2 more time that they need, and he prevents an open net from being scored right there. And it's the little things like that that G2 have fixed in their gameplay that really stand out. At least to me, right? You got it when you break it down, it's a little more evident, but it might be a little hard to notice these things when you're just watching the second-to-second gameplay. But man, I remember when I was watching that and I thought to myself, okay, Chicago's about to dive into this, isn't he? But no, that was definitely the way to go. And Chicago plays a beautiful third man role right there, buys enough time for his teammates to get back, and they continue only down by 1. Remember, if Chicago didn't make that decision, if he jumped in at that ball, then they would be down by 2. And I want to point out another thing. It is easy to maybe think that this is a ball to jump for, because you see Rizzo right here. Give him a sec. right here, Rizzo is going for this bump on the Garrett G. He's probably calling out in comms, I'm going to go for the bump. You see JNAP's passing it off the backboard. You think it's about to be a free goal, but Rizzo completely missed, and Chicago noticed that right away. So when you look at it even closer, you notice the split-second decision-making, Chicago waiting for that bump to come out from Rizzo, and he was ready regardless of if Rizzo got the bump or not. He put himself in a position to make that split-second quick decision, and that's just something that G2 was not doing before at all. They were making a decision, and there was no backup plan, right? Chicago had that backup plan, which really, really helped G2 in that position. And now this next clip I want to look at is a kickoff. And remember, we saw Energy get that kickoff goal because of G2's poor kickoff positioning. Well, we're going to look at G2 getting a kickoff goal. So as you can see right here, I'll be honest, I don't like either team's kickoff on this because you have one man going for boost, one man going for boost back, your turbo's back for this boost, and two people cheating up. Because if this ball gets past you, it's an open net because no one's defending that. And look exactly what happens right here. I mean, that's just how it can go, right? It happens so infrequently, a kickoff that goes this poorly, that sometimes you don't really think about it. But it is something that you do need to consider when kicking off. That, like, if Turbo Pulsa, watch Turbo Pulsa in the back. If he had turned the other way, see how he turns into the field. He's turning, assuming that the ball is going to pinch somewhere this way. No, he's turned the wrong way. If he had turned towards the wall in that position, he would have made it back to this. Maybe. Yeah, he would have made it back to this. He got a touch in that. If Turbo Pulsa turns the other way right here, he 100% makes it back to this ball. So I think in a position like this where you know you have a man cheating up and it's possible for that kickoff goal to come out, Turbo Pulsa needs to turn the other way towards net, not away from net, and just get his ass back on if this is the kickoff that they're going for. Right? I think that would be the one way to fix this kickoff that G2 and NRG both didn't do. They kind of trusted that the ball wasn't going to pinch into their own net, which it did, and then they weren't in a position for that, which is why, and this is something that's very hard for a lot of people to do. A lot of people in Rocket League, doesn't matter if you're platinum, doesn't matter if you're a high-level grand champ, a lot of people struggle to get a good kickoff going. Like, there's always weaknesses in a kickoff. There are certain kickoffs which are that have more strength and more focus on defending the net than others. Like one like this, it would have been impossible for JNAPS to get that goal if Turbo Pulse had just turned that other way. Prioritize the defensive save over maybe getting to the mid boost or the mid wall where he thinks the ball is going to pinch first. Now I want to point out one more time right here. Now, this is another time when I saw that G2 made some really good decision making per se, and I really want to showcase this, and this will be the last clip that I want to show for basically the G2's kind of fixed play style. So right here you see JNAPS. He hits the ball, Garrett G back down to Rizzo. Rizzo passes to Chicago, and Chicago hits this off the crossbar. Now, notice how JNAPS is already getting back. And normally what we'd see is, you might not think it, but Garrett G actually has control over this ball, right? He knows this ball is hitting the crossbar. See how Garrett G is patiently waiting, right? A player of his caliber can jump and hit this ball basically whenever he wants, if he needs to. So if JNAPS had turned for this ball earlier and he tried to go for this rebound, I'm thinking to myself that Garrett G actually would have beat him to this ball, and it would have been a rough position for G2 considering both his teammates are in the corner right here, which again, this is another position where I was getting a little worried, but no, they played it really well, and JNAPS is, see how he's already back waiting, and now all three because Garrett G can't rush the net, he has to take it slower, more time for his teammates to get back. Now JNAPS is challenging, and it's hard for NRG to do anything in a situation like this. Look, now that G2 has all their players back, they bought the time that they needed, they can get on defense, and now they already are about trying to push on to offense. And if you did see the NRG G2 game in Spring Series, you know that G2 were always on offense. It was like 90% to 10%. See, and back already taking shots on net. And notice, even after Chicago's shot, two teammates are already back. It's just such a different way that we're seeing G2 play now. They found this perfect sweet spot between aggression, all out aggression, and then when they get back on defense, which is exactly what they needed, and it worked out. It doesn't matter where NRG hit this ball in this game. G2 are always there. Still, at the end of the day, there's always a G2 member back. If you're really watching, there's always somebody ready to help make that defensive stop, and that's the difference between G2 now. Before and back then, it used to be open net after open net, because G2 were just like to have every single one of their offensive members and defensive members in the NRG half, in the NRG box, trying to make something happen. But you can't really do that against a team like NRG, who has a lot of speed, a lot of momentum, who can get to the ball as quick as you, or quicker than you in some points at some times. So that has been it. That has been basically the rundown of what is different with this G2 roster now than back then. And I actually really like doing this. It's really fun. It's like replay analysis. I really enjoy doing it. I love pointing out a lot of key things that maybe people hadn't seen or originally picked up on during the original broadcasts. So this is something that I would like to do again in the future, because it's really, I actually have so much fun doing this. So yeah, obviously, if you guys did enjoy, it'd be awesome if you guys hit subscribe. Also, if you guys want, you can follow me on Twitter. I just post a lot of news stuff and make tweets and shit on there. So you can follow me there. And you know what? I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.